Hey, what's going on YouTube? Or Storm here. So today I've actually got another episode 2 of our podcast series. I have Black Tiger here as well as ShadollShane. So hello everybody.
Hi.
Uh,
Hey.
so today we're going to be mostly, since I couldn't get around to actually talking about the ban list last week because like I have a policy of not playing Yu-Gi-Oh before big events, the day before big events. So I didn't get around to talking the ban list, but that's going to be the main topic of the podcast today. So everyone I think here has seen the ban list, correct? Yeah.
I actually
Yeah.
just found out
I
about it today.
Yeah, so like we're not gonna talk too much. First thing we're gonna go over is like just the first thing I want to talk about is all the adjusted list hits came over, but I mean I mean and we're gonna talk about that first. So the adjusted list hits, the first thing that like obviously Plushie, Juggler, and Ptolemaeus were banned. Um, I honestly thought Plushie needed to be banned, but like Juggler I felt like could come to one if Plushie was banned. That's just my take, but like. And then Ptolemaeus was just a dumb carding concept. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think if Infinity didn't come out, then Ptolemaeus would have had great potential.
Yeah. What do you think, Nicholas?
I just kind of say like I didn't really like the whole, like I really didn't like the performer mage thing where it was just like, oh hey, you don't even need level fours anymore. You can just use these performer mage, you guys. And it's just like it was just kind of just like annoying when you just saw them like all the time and you hardly ever saw like any other like ranked 4 decks out there, and it was just like Pepe, Pepe, Pepe everywhere, and I'm actually just kind of glad they're still there.
Yeah, and then so it's basically kind of my thought. And then the other hits that came over, Luster, Monkey Board, and Joker all at one. I mean, um, I think as far as like Luster Pendulum is the one card I'm always like I wish it wasn't at one, but I understand why it is. Me personally, like Lester Pendulum's really good in other Pendulum decks, not just Draco Powell's, because it really helps. Like Magic Specters are a great example. Like, you don't have to, it really unbricks your bag, but with it at one, it kind of defeats the purpose of playing it. And
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And then and then Joker and Monkey Board. I feel like I don't know what you guys think about this, but I feel like the problem isn't the cards themselves, the fact they search each other. You know what I mean? The fact that Joker searches Monkey Board and Monkey Board searches Joker. Like I feel like if Monkey Board was banned, then and Sorcerer was like at one, Joker could come straight to three. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Um, I I liked. I think Luster should have been put at 2 because that's all anyone really played anyway, unless it was just pure like Pepe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think the reason it got hit so hard was because Pepe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, like I feel like I don't have a problem with monkey board being at one because I feel like one card scales shouldn't really be a thing. You should have to either do some extensive combos to set up your scales. You should have to actually work and not you should have to use. What I'm saying is like you should have to use at least two cards in your hand to search a scale. I think that's fair because you're kind of like Pendulum Call is like a great example. It's a good card, but like you're basically like
Yeah.
you're using two cards to search two cards, so it's kind of like it evens out in the end. But
Yeah.
It's sort of like a 1-for-1 type deal,
yeah, yeah,
except
but
you double it.
and then as far as like the newly banned cards, when you get to that, the only two bans and then this list: Chicken Game and Wavering Eyes. Now, my thing about Chicken Game was that every time I saw Chicken Game, my salt levels went over 9,000 because most of the time, like every time I saw that card, it was some kind of stupid, janky stuff, and I knew I was gonna lose to most of the time. Um, as far as wavering, like I saw like at the YCS like how good the card was. I wavering to multiple people for four, and every time I did, I won the game basically. So
Yeah.
yeah, and then like I don't know what you guys think about both cards.
I
Nicholas,
guess
you go
that
first this time.
oh, okay. So I guess that Konami was kind of just like cuz like everyone's playing these cards and like, well, cuz the new releases that just came out like the Galaxy Typhoon or something, was it? Maybe they just like want people to like start playing that or something, and just like change like the whole like how the game's played now, and not just like Wavering Eyes isn't the staple anymore, and that they just want to make like that Galaxy Typhoon thing the staple now.
Yeah, and as far as chicken game, like I think most of the time, I mean, it was I liked it in some decks just as like in Churio is a great example. I played a couple copies and it's great, but like I feel like the problem with chicken game, like if it wasn't a field spell, it would have been fine. But the problem was it was a field spell. If it would have been like a continuous spell card, I think it would have been fine. It was the fact that it was
Yeah.
a field spell, and you can do all this pseudo bullshit with it. So overall, I mean, I'm with wavering. Like, I mean, I think we really think it's gonna do for people who are playing pendulums. It's just gonna give them. They're gonna have more creativity and more flexibility now, which I think is a good thing. Like, they're gonna have to play other cards, and that's all the bans. So we're the newly limited cards. We already talked about those. Wisdom Eye Magician to 1. This was probably the one I was kind of saltiest about. I played Magicians at the YCS because, like, well, Wisdom Eye is going to 1 since the last time I played the deck at full power. No, what do you guys think about Wisdom Eye going to 1?
I'm okay with it, seeing as I don't really play Magicians. But I can see how it kills the deck, and it's a deck that really didn't need to be hit.
Yeah, what about you,
Because
Nicholas?
Um, I honestly feel like Pepe already got hit pretty hard as it was, and I honestly feel like I was playing Monarchs myself, and I kind of got like upset. I'm just like, wait, there's nothing got hit at Monarchs, no pantheism down to 1. Like, I was just I honestly just kind of just like put my hands up in the air, just like, what are you doing, Konami? Just like, this deck already got hit as it is. It doesn't need to get more hit.
Yeah, with Wisdom Eye, I mean, and even at, like, I've already done some post-ban list testing, and it still works. Like, you just have to replace the Wisdom Eyes and all the cards they took out with Performance Pals, and it works just as good.
Yeah.
But it's not like, I mean, it's a little slightly less consistent, but when you have cards like Sorcerer that can easily search out Joker, which searches Wisdom Eye anyways, it's not as much of an issue. You just have to be a lot more careful when you use your Wisdom Eye. It's not like before where you can just, you have to keep using Oath Dragon to recycle it. But I knew the card was going to go to 1 eventually, just not this soon. I didn't think it would happen this soon because when I first read the card, I looked at it carefully and I was like, it's a Lone Fire Blossom for Pendulums. This card's going to be amazing. And it was. It just never was really meta relevant. And we also got 2 new fusions back on the ban list. We got Thousand Eyes Restrict and Elder Entity Norden. Norden was a card I actually thought was fine. Like, I honestly didn't think it needed to be hit at all. That's just my take. But with it at 1, like I feel like most of the time, like, how often do you really resolve multiple Nordens in a game? I don't know about you guys. I mean, most of the
I've
time,
done it
most of the time,
two,
like,
but
when I summon my first one, at least in Heroes, like, I play Triple Call of the Haunted, so I have access to it again, and that's honestly the problem always felt with it is that you can loop it back with Call of the Haunted and use its effect again, and that I mean, it helps my heroes for sure because it can help me make my first turn Dark Claw or Flasia play, but I didn't think it was a problem. Like, most people, I don't think anyone really thought it was a problem, to be honest. But I don't know. Um, Nicholas, what do you think about Norden?
Well, honestly, the only time I've ever played with Norden is when I've been using Madolches, and I'm that guy who still uses Madolches because I just like their whole gimmick that they just like swarm the whole field and they're just like adorable. And then like I just get out Norden and he just helps them. Like I honestly thought Norden was at 1 for like a long time, and then like I just saw the new next to Norden. I'm just like, oh, I guess he wasn't before. Well, whatever.
Yeah,
So I don't really mind it. It's not gonna like destroy me or anything.
no, like, yeah, and with Madolches, like, you're probably already playing stuff like, I mean, in my build at least, I was playing like Fusionist and like, I forget the Earth level 5 that you could play
Yeah,
because you could make the rank 5. I
I
mean,
used
I
to
was already
play
playing
Session or
other.
something.
Panzer.
Yeah, it wasn't Panzer. It's this Cybersaurus, I think it's called, because the rank 5 Madolche, like, it takes 2 level 5 Earths. So, like, if you do happen to play, if you do like play Pudding Cess and you have Pudding Cess out, you can actually make a la mode pretty easily. So that's one of the reasons why I played it. I mean, you don't need Pudding Cess isn't like good in a competitive build, but if you want to have fun, it's pretty solid. The nice thing about
Yeah,
the rank 5 though is it counts as Pudding Cess, so you can use it for a lot of the cards that need Pudding Cess. But anyways, Thousand Eyes Restrict. I mean, when I saw Thousand Eyes Restrict back, I actually thought the only thing I really thought about is it's really good for Relinquish decks because now you can search Relinquished off of Fusion Reserve, which is really good. But the thing is, like,
yeah,
pre-preparation rights is coming out in the next set, so I don't really see why I would play Fusion Reserve now. But that being said, like, I think there are effective ways to summon it outside of instant fusion because you have cards like King of the Swamps. I think a card's called Dark Hex something or other. I mean, you don't have to play the vanilla to make it, so that's actually kind of nice.
Dark Hack Steel Fusion.
Yeah, that card. But I don't know. I think there's not really a lot to be said about Thousand Eyes. It won't affect the game too much, but it'll really help a lot of the people. People forget that it actually like how much it can lock you down too, because all the monsters are locked into their battle positions. So I can
Yeah.
I can kind of see a really effective like Ghost Trick deck or something that can revolve around the card. So
It makes Ritual Arts a 3, so that means that
yeah,
deck's got a lot of boost now.
yeah, we'll get to that. And then the other limit was Ignister Prom. Ignister went to 1. I mean, I think I feel like Ignister was one of those cards where it's not ban worthy, but like it shouldn't be at multiples because I think you know at 1 at 3 like there's just some insane boards you can create. And I thought the problem was they made both effects like the fact that it specialed from deck and then it was like a generic spellbook of fate was the problem. What do you guys think about Ignister going to 1?
The only time I ever really ran into Draco Slayers, and it was both times at YCS. And basically, whenever I saw them, and I'm like, they look scary, and I'm gonna lose. And that's all I thought. And I just saw that white guy. I'm just like, well, he's red. I'm probably gonna die. I don't really know what he does. And
I've never. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just glad that he's just that I'll just see him less, I guess, because I just see like all these like freaking dragon things with weapons on the field, and there's like pendulum scales set up. I'm like, I don't even know what's happening. You can just win.
I mean, with my build, like I was running like the one luster, but then I used tuning magician to go into it, and I was so like I like that it's at 1. I don't think it needs to be banned, but like we still need it at 1 as long as like Cosmos are kind of at full power pretty much. So the next card
I
that
wasn't
was
aware.
oh yeah,
I
Drake
wasn't
and
aware that Ignister was being played at 3. I knew some people played it 2,
yeah,
but
but
then I
people
haven't
could.
lost to it yet. So
Yeah, because when they were playing at 3, because that in a premium gold 3 that Hope Harbinger card came out, and the biggest problem with because I remember I talked to someone. Let's talk to one of my friends from Morgan, and he said that he was playing the Dino variant because they can make the vanilla the dinosaur pendulum monsters that we got as promo card as the sneak peek cards. You play those, play Fossil Dig, and you can make Dolka and Magia. So it's kind of the same concept. Like you're trying to make really broken boards with number 38, and 38 is just a stupidly good card. So that's the main reason why like people started playing more Ignisters. But then, anyways, next card was Draco Face Off going to 1. I mean, me personally, just from testing Face Off, it is a really good card, and I top decked it. It can get you out of a lot of situations. But and you guys think about Draco Face Off going to 1?
I can see it. I can see why it was put to 1.
But you,
I've
Nicholas?
played.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I played Dino Slayers, and they and the card really does help, especially when you've got such different engines working together.
Like
But
I mean,
yeah,
me personally testing Dynamites with Draco Slayers, like face, I literally felt like I'm literally just using face off in the Draco monsters. I'm not barely using the Dynamis side of the deck at all. So, so it's like yeah. So I think it kind of speaks for itself there. Next we got two surprise like one hit I wasn't surprised about, and the other one I kind of was like, what they hit that. So the other two hits were Reasoning and Upstart Goblin both went to 1. So my thoughts on Reasoning was that Battle Boxers are a deck I played for ages, and I knew Roto was a bit. Roto was one of those cards they bumped it to 3 to support a deck, and then they hit it to 1 after the deck had done. They didn't need it anymore. And I feel like Reasoning is
Yeah.
the same thing. Like they were wanting to push Infernoids, they bumped it to 3, and then they bumped it back to 1 because people were putting it in a lot of different decks. And I think, and it wasn't really a Cosmo hit as much as just hitting a lot of. I feel like, what do you guys think about Reasoning going to 1?
God damn it.
About you,
um,
Nicholas?
it
Or, sorry, go ahead, Sean.
it killed my Morptronic Quasar build. I've got to find a way to bring that thing up from the ashes because that was like one of my favorite decks.
What about you, Nicholas?
Um, the only time I ever run multiple reasonings was in my prophecy deck, and then you just reasoning, and then you just get a ton of spellbooks in the grave, and then like the levels in prophecy all over the place because like the extra deck in prophecy is just like a joke. Like I saw this one build where like this guy's just wearing like Blue Eyes Ultimate. He's just like, yeah, it looks real scary. They'll get all scared if they see this, and it's just like because you can just get like your high priestess out, and then like your level 2 500 attack guy out, and you're just like, woo. And then you can Fates and then get your spellbooks off from the graveyard that you got from Reasoning. So if you get spells in the grave, it's actually like not that bad.
Yeah.
But
I
one
mean,
isn't really going to hurt me that bad.
with me, like so at regionals, that was my first loss. The first match I lost was to Infernoids because game two he reasoning me and he hit a Christia because I called one, and then second later and he dropped the second Christia later in the game. But the game three I called reasoning and I summoned Sideblocker and called reasoning and he opens Monster Gate and charge. I'm so salty.
Oh,
It was just I felt like after the event I just decided that I see why reasoning is going to one. As far as Upstart Goblin, I feel like Chicken Game being banned and Upstart going to one are kind of parts of the same coin. Konami wants us to actually be more creative than just playing Chicken Game, Pseudo Space, Upstart in every deck because we can. I feel like Konami wants to push us to either playing more traps or playing more hand traps. It's like one or the other basically, honestly.
Because like every deck was running like triple upstarts. And it's just like you have a 37 card deck. It's all good.
Yeah, and I mean with the event, I think I had a playset of upstarts that I ended up selling because I had an ultra I got rid of, and then the other commons and I got rid of all of them. But I mean, it's gonna force people to be a lot more creative with their deck builds. And I think honestly that's a good thing if people are playing more hand traps, playing more trap cards. That's a good thing because every deck won't really be built with the same generic cards at least. I mean, there are a lot of decks I play upstart in, so it kind of made me sad, but at the same time, it just means I got to be more creative with my deck building. All right, and then I don't.
I think it was to stop magical explosion, FTKs, and
Yeah, but
Utility.
with that, I feel with that they could have just banned Life Equalizer. Because I remember during one of my matches against the Monarch player playing gift card, he life equalized me, and we were both at 3K life points game one. I just couldn't get it, and then I just couldn't get it. I beat him both games, but it wasn't too bad. So semi limits. Debris Dragon finally came up to 2. I don't really know why Debris Dragon was sitting at 1 for so long, personally.
Yeah, I was all the way in 5Ds.
Yeah,
Stardust Turbo.
yeah, but the reason the fact I'm talking about Debris Dragon in general as a card. I read the card. I'm like, all right, Mass Chameleon has less restrictions than Debris Dragon. When I read the card very carefully, I'm like, I looked at Mass Chameleon, then I read Debris Dragon, and I read them both. I was like, Mass Chameleon has less restrictions. Why is and then with Debris Dragon though, it was banned. It was limited because of Dragon Rulers, because it was searchable off of Tempest, and that was it was a really big part of the whole Mythic Ruler deck. But the Dragon Rulers were banned I think a year ago, and then Debris Dragon's not on the list even longer. But I'm glad to see it at least come up to 2. It's really nice. You guys have any ideas for Debris Dragon? I mean,
Dragon deck's coming back.
Yeah, I think it's gonna help. I mean, honestly, in Blue Eyes though, you have way too many other tuners already. So honestly, outside of your standard junk doppel deck, can't see a ton of uses for it. But it'd be nice.
Standard junk doppel, I take offense to that.
There's a lot of I feel with junk doppel, there's so many different builds. I saw it actually the deck does have a lot more flexibility, and next card is probably the one I was one of the most excited about was Allure of Darkness going to 2,
Yeah.
which and then E-Telly, but then E-Telly went to 2. So this was kind of what I liked it, but then at the same time I was like, why? Because yeah, you're simulating emergency teleport, but most Cosmo players, if they're not already playing 1-for-1, they'll just play 1-for-1 instead. And on top of that, you're supporting them by bumping Alert to 2, because even though Cosmo players aren't playing a lot of darks now, usually they're just playing 1 Wicked Witch, 3 Dark Destroyers, and the Dark Eclipser, but they'll play more darks just to make sure their allures are alive. So you're really just you're barely hitting Cosmos, and anything you're actually making them better, because they're just gonna have to shift their builds a little bit, and it'll be even a better deck. So what do you guys think about those?
Konami loves their TCG exclusives though.
Yeah, they do. But what do you guys think about Allure and E-Telly both going to 2?
E-Telly is gonna hurt my
make.
Yeah, Nicholas can go first.
I think Allure of Darkness is gonna make Nightwings horrifying to go against.
What deck? What deck are you talking about?
Blackwings, not Nightwings.
Blackwings. I mean, the first thing when I actually saw the card was it's because with Dark Worlds I had to take out my upstarts. I'm like, oh no, but yeah, Blackwings aren't Black Green's one of those decks that people just always will play because the deck will never die, even though Konami just refuses. Like they create all these. I'm just shaking Konami. It's like, why are you making? Just give us a card that searches Black Whirlwind, and I don't care. But it's nice to have it at 2. Although I think the price hype is going through the roof. Like I think super rares are already up to like $20. And then off the
That's
ban.
why I play commons.
Yeah, I was gonna pick up a couple commons because I couldn't find my copy. And then unlimited Dark Magician of Chaos. So it's a little bit surprising, but I think part of the reason they brought DMOC all the way up was they limited reasoning, and like DMOC's a pretty good card to hit off of reasoning. And the other thought process was with that is, well, they limited reasoning, so and the only deck you'd really play DMOC in is like a dedicated Dark Magician deck or Infernaloids. That's it. So I don't have a problem with DMOC going to 3. What do you guys think?
I'm building a turbo build for Dark Magician Chaos.
Yeah, what do you think, Nicholas?
I actually, because I'm currently building a prophecy deck right now, but it's just crazy because you got like the $10 each of secrets and spell magician and prophecy. You got to get 3 copies of each. That's like 60 right there for just 6 cards. And then I was just like, oh wait, he can get spells from the grave. That might be nice.
Yeah, I mean, I like that it does still have the battle banishment effect, which is not bad. Like you prevent shit from floating, and that's really important with all the float. Things float. The Titanic wishes it could float like some of these Yu-Gi-Oh decks nowadays. Like,
So that means I'm building an ice deck.
yeah, like Dark Magician is like, and I actually think I saw like it's always Asianized, so take it with a grain of salt. But I've seen some builds that are actually making use of DMOC, and the card is good. And I could see myself maybe playing like Escape from the Dark Dimension. It's probably one of the better cards you can play to get DMOC back. It's not as good as like Return, but it's pretty decent. And you can. The cool thing I didn't realize about DMOC's effect is that it can recycle during your opponent's end phase if you special summon it on their turn. So that's pretty nice. And let's see, and then Tragodia went to 3. I don't think we need to talk too much about Trag. I think Trag is actually a good card because I like cards that can steal my opponent's monsters. But at the same time, I think like Trag's just kind of Gores is like, because if you're not playing back row, you're probably playing Gores already. I mean, the only deck I've really played Trag in is Gishki's personally. I don't know what you guys think.
I don't see much of a use for Tragodia for me, but it's nice to see it back because a lot of old players that are still barely holding on to the game will probably pick up a play set to try to boost their deck a little bit.
Yeah. I think the card is like in Gishki's is nice just because it's a 1 card tribute for Zolgigas, but I've never built a deck and say, oh, I wanted to play Trag.
Yeah.
And then ARA Advanced Ritual Art went to 3. This is going to be one I think it's going to be interesting because Konami's releasing more ritual support in the form of pre-prep, so I'm kind of glad they finally put it to 3 because it was sitting at 2 for pretty much as long as I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Since the 2013 format. It's been sitting at 2. You guys happy to see ARA finally back to 3?
I'm ready for it. Like,
Yeah.
I played Demise and Ruin for a while in my earlier days. I'm gonna do that again.
Yeah, what do you think, Nicholas?
Well, honestly, I kind of like to make decks like based off all the summoning methods. Like I have like the Xyz deck, the Synchro deck, then like I have like a Pendulum deck, which I barely use and it's just garbage. And then I'm like, okay, what about a Ritual deck? So I looked it up, and rituals, like, there aren't that many rituals, like, at all. I think there's like less than 60, and like half of them are Necros, and the other ones nobody ever plays anymore, like the freaking hamburger thing or whatever.
Yeah, I mean with ARA when I was because like I had been working on like an Odd Eyes like Gravity Dragon deck like built around the card, and I remember I had to play 2 Advents because ARA was at 1 because the ritual spell is like Odd Eyes Fusion. You can only use it once in a turn, so like if you draw multiple Advents you cry. But now the nice thing about ARA about magicians is you have the level 4s and level 7s or vanilla, so you can send them via ARA for the whole summon. So it makes it a lot more convenient to and so that was one of the ideas I came up with the card because it's not and the cool you can also and that deck also summons Lord of Red as well, and Lord of Red's a pretty underrated card. It's not like really spectacular, but it's pretty solid. As far as Crush Card going to 3, I mean, I think the reason Crush Card stayed at 1 for so long was because when Crush Card first came back, you remember the format, it was Necros and Cleese were really big, And those Crush Card was even with its errata, Crush Card was just a blowout against those decks. What do you think about you guys think that's pretty much the case? I mean,
It's whatever.
yeah, with the case of Crush Card, I was like when it first came out, like when all the errata cards, Klee players and Necros players were complaining because the card was if you opened with that against Necros, they really couldn't do anything because all their monsters were above 1500 except for Manju. But I mean, it's not gonna do anything. I mean, it's one of those cards I feel like. But overall, I think. I mean, I don't know. I'll get like or I'll go through a summary. But my summary on the ban list is, I mean, when I knew we were gonna get a ban list, I was like, it's just gonna be really meh. Because that's what these April lists are. They don't change really a whole lot in the format. They're just pretty meh. And I felt like that was kind of, and this is kind of what we got. You know, a bunch of really just unnecessary changes and a bunch of few little minute changes. It's not really going to change the format, but all right. And what do you think, Nicholas?
Well, basically for me, like every time I hear like a new ban list is released, I just like pray to the Egyptian god cards. I'm just like, come on, just give me just one judgment, just one spell of good judgment. That's all I want. Because I was playing like spell books like as soon as they came out, and I just loved it. And then I saw spell of good judgment, and I'm like, oh, why haven't I heard of this? And I'm like, oh, it's banned, of course. I hate you, Konami. And so,
I mean,
yeah, this list is.
go ahead, Sean.
Oh, I was like, yeah,
Um,
this list is pretty meh, but all the like the draw cards are all down, and so it's just nice to see that like people aren't running like the 37 card decks with the triple upstarts again. But I don't really have that many problems with it, and I actually kind of like it a bit.
Yeah, that was me. But what do you think, Sean?
as far as the list goes in general, I'm excited to see where the game's gonna go because I'm honestly not pissed with this list, except for Wavering Eyes and Reasoning,
Mm.
because of the decks I play. Um, I was pretty much okay. My main deck, my Gem Knights, they'll live another day because of Unexpected Day and Brilliant Spark, and so I was okay with that. Dynamists are just gonna be a lot more trap heavy, or they're just gonna play Ignite Reload.
Yeah, that's actually some
Um,
because if you're playing like Dynamis on a mere pure level, you can actually play what's the card called? Mori Agreed is actually not. I've seen some Dynamis builds that run that card, and you are getting Spynos and Shining Victories, which is a pretty good card. And I know they're getting another card in Dark Illusion, so like it's not like the deck is. The biggest thing I noticed in testing the deck was that the deck needs the deck has way too many low scales. Like it could use a couple of high scales actually. Like, but
their lowest scale is a 3.
yeah, but like when I tested the deck, what I was saying was is that like when you have six, it has. I feel like when I tested the deck, I didn't have enough six scales, so that was my own. But anyway, guys, it comes about to the end of our ban list discussion. So we're probably gonna do a podcast in the next couple weeks. We're gonna talk a little bit about reprints next time around, and kind of like the good or bad for the game, and maybe a few other topics that come to mind. So anyway, guys, as always, thank you guys for watching. It's Orstorm signing out.